When people are experiencing burnout in their professional lives, there are three main symptoms they generally experience: exhaustion, low personal accomplishment, and something called depersonalization. People can become exhausted emotionally and physically. When I've experienced burnout in the past, this means I tend to sleep a lot and really lack motivation to do anything on my to-do list. I feel sluggish, and even simple tasks start to feel way more difficult than they should. Low personal accomplishment often shows up in the form of poor self-esteem. For me, I can tell I'm reaching the point of burnout when I start beating myself up over small mistakes or minimizing my successes somehow. My husband's really good about calling me out for this and reminding me to show more kindness to myself. Depersonalization is the third component of burnout, which shows up when we've worked ourselves to the brink of our abilities and we're just done with everything and everyone. This happens when we lose our ability to filter our interactions with other people and our communication becomes callous or disrespectful. As the name would suggest, depersonalization happens when we forget to treat other people like people. I want to share an exercise with you that may be useful for you or your coworkers in a group setting, especially if several of you are struggling to communicate peacefully, or maybe struggling to acknowledge each other's perspectives or resolve conflict effectively. This exercise allows each group member to contribute to a conflict resolution playlist that can be used to promote discussion. So you'll start by prompting group members to recall a recent interpersonal conflict and any emotions associated with that conflict. Allow group members to share the emotions associated with it without going too far into the details of the specific situation or the people involved. For me, conflict generally makes me feel anxious and uncomfortable. I have a very people-pleasing attitude and personality. I really just want to make everyone in the room happy, even if that means taking on more than my fair share to make that happen. When I sense that anyone in my midst is upset with me or anyone else, my face gets hot and my heart beats faster. My fight or flight response kicks in. My immediate impulse is to fix it or get out of the room as quickly as possible. After a brief discussion of emotions related to conflict, ask group members to identify 3 songs that reflect their feelings on the subject and perhaps contain constructive insight regarding interpersonal conflict. Give group members a few minutes to think about this and write down their song list, or maybe present this challenge as homework so people can think about it for a bit and bring their list of songs during the next meeting. If you'd like, you can pause the video here and think about the songs that might comprise your own conflict resolution playlist. Once everyone in the group has their song list, set aside time for the group to hear at least one song from each person's playlist. If it's a small group or a longer meeting time, you might have time for each group member to share 2 songs, or even all 3. If you're the facilitator and you're a music therapist, I strongly encourage you to learn the songs on each person's playlist and play and sing them live for the group. Otherwise, if you're not a music therapist, you can play song recordings for the group and then lead discussion afterward. During discussion, the person who chose the song should have an opportunity to share how that song relates to their emotions and experience surrounding conflict and communication. They might even share lyrics or aspects of the song that could be helpful when thinking about conflict resolution strategies. The facilitator can then invite other group members to offer encouragement, validation, or additional insights to the person who shared. It's important that everyone agrees with the ground rule that we only share comments that are respectful and constructive during this time. So I'll use my songs as an example. I've had the chance to think about this challenge for a bit and the ways that I respond to conflict. And my 3 songs are Behind the Scenes by Francesca Battistelli, Words by Ryan Adams, and Human by Christina Perri. In order for you to get a variety of ideas about how a person's choices might offer insight about conflict resolution, I'll share the most relevant portions of each of my 3 songs and tell you a bit about why I chose them. I'll start by playing the first verse and chorus of Behind the Scenes. You may think I'm just trying. How could anything ever be out of line? I take my time to set the stage, make sure So this is a song about putting on a mask, about hiding away and pretending everything is fine, even when it's not. When I'm in times of conflict or stress, my first instinct is quite often to deny the conflict exists, to run from it, or if I must face it directly, to bring as few people into it as possible. When I'm at my most stress, sometimes people who really love me don't really hear from me. I become a bit of a hermit, and I don't really let people in on what's going on with me until the storm has passed or until I have a solution in my mind. Let's just say I'm not really good at asking for help or letting people know that I'm not okay. And that brings me to my second song, Words. Here's the first verse and chorus of that song. If everything you want is something you couldn't have, go outside a while, look up and count the clouds. Can you draw a picture of the backyard of the house you grew up in? Can you remember how it smelled? Don't worry up your mind. People are sick and mean sometimes. They're only words. They're only words. It's only words. So on the surface, the lyrics of that song read as if the person is strong in the face of criticism and harsh words. It looks like they're reminiscing, thinking about big questions and pressing on, unaffected by whatever it was that was spoken to them. They say it's only words, but the sadness of the musical elements reveal that this person is much more affected than they're letting on. I'm definitely like that in the face of conflict. My love language is words of affirmation, which means that I'm both deeply fulfilled by positive, encouraging words of others and deeply crushed by negative, critical words. I'm not proud of how much words affect me, and that's kind of the reason why in the past I've put on the mask and pretended like I'm fine even when I'm not. But I've learned from my support people and from my own therapist that it's okay to be fallible sometimes. It's okay for me to be vulnerable and tell people the truth about when I'm affected or when I'm making a mistake or when I'm kind of still in the learning process with something. And that kind of brings me to my last song, Human. It's kind of about the fact that I'm quick to forgive others, but I need to be more kind to myself and forgive myself when I mess up, because I'm only human. I can hold my breath. I can bide my time. I can stay awake for days if that's what you want. Be your number one. I can fake a smile. I can force a laugh. I can dance and play the part if that's what you ask. Give was an interesting study that incorporated these conflict resolution playlists, and participants said that this exercise helped them appreciate the diversity of everyone's experiences in the group and the powerful role that emotions can play when we're responding to conflict or stress. It helped them shift their minds away from adversarial thinking and learn to see situations more readily from other people's perspectives. Participants commented that the music expanded their expressive lexicon by providing a way for them to communicate where words in the past had fallen short. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. I hope you have a great day.